生はゲームです。みんな必死になって戦って生き残る価値のある大人になりましょう。バトルロワイヤル。
Hello, we're here, we're live, transitioning. So today we are going to be covering on the show, which I was meant to do yesterday, but I was not feeling too good, so it's happening today. So today we're going to be covering the films that I've seen so far at the London Film Festival that's currently happening. The festival finishes this time next week, I believe. So I'm very excited. So I've got a long week ahead of me. So kind of like to give like a rough guideline. So currently I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18. I think I have over 20 films still to watch from the film festival that have piqued my interest that I want to watch. I still have over 20 to watch. And I currently have only seen 4. I'm a bit behind. That's because like I've just not been feeling well, and and I need to be paying attention to watch these movies. But I felt a lot better today, so I'm gonna be starting catching up during the week, and I may even watch a film after the stream to get fully caught up. But I've seen 4 films from the festival so far. We're going to review them in the order that I watched them, just so that it is, we start with the first film that I watched, and so on and so forth. I just need to check a couple things before I do so. I need to make sure that the key thing I want to check is embargoes. I don't want to. Break any embargoes. Which is important. That's very important. So let's just check. There's a PDF version of this usually. So, right, gonna scroll on to the. So let me go down. Oh, these in alphabetical. Oh, these are in alphabetical order. Thank God. This makes my search so much easier. Oh no, they're not in alphabetical order. I've been lied to. This is a terrible decision. Oh my God, the way this is organized is awful. Can just stuff either filter alphabetical order, please. This is a disaster. Filters. Let's go with this one. Okay. So doesn't have an embargo. I'm just making sure we gotta make sure we cover all our bases here. Okay, so I think everything does not have an embargo. There's no embargoes in the films that I've seen. I don't think they do. Usually they're good at telling me what films do not have embargoes. So the first film that I saw as part of the London Film Festival is Emily the Criminal. This is a film that stars Aubrey Plaza, and I believe it's been out in America for a while now, and it's being directed by John Peyton Ford. It is having its UK premiere at the London Film Festival, or it might be European. I will double check that just now. Search. Might not be having any premiere in the UK. I have no idea. So yeah, it is. I don't know if it's having its UK premiere here. Has it not? Has it had its UK premiere already? But either way, I saw Emily the Criminal, and it's a very good movie. So basically, the film is about Aubrey Plaza's character Emily, who is struggling to find work and is currently a food delivery driver, and due to someone who she works with, she gets involved in a credit card scam, to like get some quick bucks, and then from there it leads to more dark and serious matters. And it's a very good movie. I think my biggest issue with the films is like some of the themes of the movie. I feel like are a bit. The film is only 97 minutes long, and I feel like a lot of the themes come across quite shallow. A lot of the more impactful themes come across very shallow and very like brief. So there's a lot of themes about like being an independent contractor compared to an actual employee, and the rights that you have as an independent contractor versus a employee. And there's a whole scene about like internship and being the idea of being paid for like not being paid, but you gain experience. Also, like you're being paid via experience that in this competitive field. And I feel like these scenes are very just like are core to the film's storytelling, especially with other things like has like student debt that she's worried about, so she needs to get money, and due to her criminal record, it's even hard for her to find jobs. I feel like a lot of those themes are kind of very brief to mainly focus on the credit card scam, and I wish that there was a little bit more importance to those themes, because they're really important themes, and I think that actually are good. They are very important to have and establish, because we need a reason for her to understand why she's getting involved in this credit card scam. And I feel like her getting screwed over is very shallow compared to what it could be. I think Aubrey Plaza is amazing, though. I think she's excellent. She does a really great job. She's incredible as Emily. Would never imagine that she was the girl from Parks and Rec. That's maybe like the assistant. I think the direction is pretty good. There's a great scene involving like the buying of a television that's really tense and really well shot and edited. But like I don't think it's the cinematography is like amazing. The soundtrack is decent. Like while it has good direction, I don't think it has really strong direction. But I think that like what really makes the film work is Aubrey Plaza. I think that if it was anyone else, I don't think the film would work. She really carries the movie, and she brings Emily to life in a way that I think that is very powerful, in a way that it's like it makes the film even more like when things go her way, you're like even more like, oh yes, because of her performance. And I think with any other actress, I don't think it would have worked as well. But yeah, so like. Yeah, it's a solid movie. I don't know when it's coming out in the UK. I believe that it's being distributed in the UK it's being distributed by Universal. It's already out in America from what I've gathered, from the little research I've done. But yeah, I would recommend this movie. I gave it 3.5 3.5 stars out of 5. I think it's or 3.5 stars out of 5. I think it's a really great movie, really solid movie, and it was a good film to kick off the festival with, in my opinion. It was such a enjoyable movie, and I want to thank Universal again for sending me out a screener link for the movie. Due to many reasons, I can't actually go to London to attend the festival, but Universal were kind enough to send me a screener link for it, so I could watch it to come from my own home. So thank you, Universal. But yeah, apart from that, it's a really good movie, and I recommend people go and see it. So the next film I watched was I Love My Dad. This is a comedy directed by James Morosini. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but James Morosini. It stars Patton Oswalt. It's written by James Morosini. Stars James Morosini as well. And it is a comedy about an estranged father who decides to catfish his son in a way to reconnect with him. And I feel really conflicted about this movie. So it's played off as a comedy, and there's some scenes in the movie where the comedy is so like cringy that it's absolutely hysterical. There's a sexting scene in the middle of the movie that is utterly hysterical, and everyone is really great in it. It's so funny, and it works. Uh, I think that Patton Oswalt is fantastic. I think he's a very underrated actor when it comes to like comedies and more serious performances. Like, he was excellent in Young Adult. I think he's great in this, and you know, it's really good. But like, I feel like this film lives or dies on the fact of how much of the cringe can you actually handle. And there's the cringy moment near the end that I just couldn't handle. It was just too much cringe. It was stupid. It wasn't for me. And I think that, especially because it's the ending, it's quite important for that to work, but it just didn't work for me. I found it too over the top and silly. But like, the general concept of like him catfishing his son is quite interesting, and actually, there's a lot of actually like really like some really nice heartwarming moments because of it. And it sounds dumb because like he's catfishing his son, and typically when we see catfishing, we typically think of the negatives. But there's a lot of things that like it does well, and it shows that like he actually does care about his son, and there's some really lovely moments within that. But I think that it's the cringe is a bit much, and that's the key factor about if you'll enjoy this movie. And for some people, it might be too much. For some people, it might not go hard enough with like their strange moments. Yeah, overall, it's a pretty good movie. There's some really solid direction. I love how they like, instead of like just showing like text conversations on the screen, they'll have like they'll do like a heightened reality sort of thing where the characters are actually talking to each other like in a scene, but it's what they're texting to each other. And that leads to some great comedy with like they'll say the typos and stuff. And I think it's a really unique way of presenting text dialogue, because a lot of it is, texting over like talking. I think that leads to some really interesting moments. But yeah, I thought it was a good watch. I wouldn't necessarily like recommend it to people, but like if it's on like a streaming service, I would recommend it. I believe that like it is available on streaming in the US. So if it's available to stream for free, then sure, give it a watch. I wouldn't necessarily like pay to watch it. It's just it's just a decent movie. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was good. I think it's definitely it's definitely like, if I had to be like, it's like one of those weird movies that it's like, it's not quite 2.5, but it's not quite 3, but I just rounded it up because I lean, like, I think that when the movie is really good, it is really good. I think that it is a worthy of a watch, but just, I wouldn't necessarily say it's worth paying $15 to rent it or to buy it or something like that. If it's like on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or something like that, I would recommend it like that way, because I think it's that's really mostly I could tolerate it for. So the next film I saw as part of the London Film Festival was Crows Are White. This is a documentary about Hassan Nadim, who is I was gonna say Malaysian. He's not Malaysian. A Muslim man who has been kind of like living a lie for a while, and to help understand how he should, what he should do with his life, he decides to go to Japan and talk to some Buddhists in a isolated monastery in Japan, and it's all about how he becomes attached to a particular Buddhist at the temple who loves heavy metal music and loves ice cream, and is super, it's like into like cool, like there's like a scene when they're at a Slayer concert, and it's the idea of it's about like, the film's all about trying to like the exploration of truth, faith, and love. And in all honesty, it's a really good movie. My biggest issue is that I much preferred the story of the monk who's an outcast, who like likes ice cream and metal music and stuff. I actually preferred that story over the actual story, and that comes in key because like I think that the first hour is great, it's great, it's excellent, but then the latter half, like the latter like 30 or so minutes, is like nowhere near as interesting because I didn't really find the main story, the main reasoning of the film to be that engaging, and I think that just it can vary from each person to person. I think that some people could probably find that side really engaging and love the ending, but however, I feel like I preferred the stuff in Japan, the monks and the Buddhists, because when you hear about the Buddhist stuff and the monks, it is so fascinating to hear. Because what's really good about it is Phil from an outsider's perspective, because he is a Muslim and he's from a different country. He moved from, I think he said, like Saudi Arabia to Ireland to Los Angeles, and he goes to Japan. So it is like a really outsider's perspective, and because it is from an outsider's perspective, it's viewed very much from that lens, and it allows all the information about like the sacred rituals and like the tests in a very interesting light, and it's quite fascinating to learn about all that sort of stuff and about how the contradictions in living by contradictions, is it okay to live by contradictions and all that, and it's just really, that stuff is really fascinating and super interesting. Is the rest of it interesting? Like the last half hour, it was really meh for me. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but it was just like I wasn't really in love with the movie as the ending as I was with the beginning. I think if it was like I think maybe if it was a bit tighter in its pacing, I think that the end stuff might be a little bit more interesting. But it keeps the same pacing throughout, and when you get to the end stuff, it's like, it's because it's less interesting, you start to, like, you can feel the pacing, if that makes sense. Because that's always big thing about documentaries, and I always find it hard about necessarily reviewing documentaries, is that I find that depending on how interesting the film is, depends on how invested you are in the documentary. So if the film is extremely interesting, you're going to be super invested. Like, if the subject matter is really interesting, you're going to be super invested in the documentary because you find it interesting, therefore you want to listen, you want to hear about it, you want to hear more things about it. And that's a big thing about documentaries, is that compared to other movies, like, as soon as a documentary it stops being interesting, you instantly lose, like, attention span. Compared to other movies where, the plot might not get interesting, but the acting's still great, or, there's other things that can keep you involved. But with documentaries, like, if you don't find it interesting, you're instantly going to lose interest. Other key areas, though, like, that I think are worth praising, is the cinematography is outstanding. How the film looks and some of the editing is absolutely masterclass worthy. It is incredible. There is, especially when it goes back to Ascen's, or I think it's Ascen, the director's life. There's a great transition with a firework into like a missile explosion, because they're talking about how, there's gonna be fireworks for your birthday, but it was the start of the Gulf War, and I love the transition from a firework into a missile explosion. And there's other like fantastic transitions with like they clearly like got the camera locked off in like a train car, and they'll like like fade between shots, but because it's locked down, it's the scenery changes in front of it, but the actual inside the car stays the same. And there's some excellent visuals. It's just, I wish the latter half was not the half, but like the last 30 minutes was a lot more interesting, gravitating to me personally. But I think it's still worthy of a watch. I think it's a really fascinating documentary, and I think that it's just excellent. And seeing a man listen to like Through the Fire and the Flames and Slayer will never get boring. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I think that it's a very good documentary, and I think it's worthy of a watch. And the last film I saw was Mini Zlatan and Uncle Darling. This film is so far my favorite. I only seen 4 movies, but this is my favorite movie of the festival. I absolutely adored this movie. This movie is this movie can be described in one word, and it's just wholesome. So the film is about a girl called Ellie. Or Ella, that's her name, not Ellie. She's from the last one says Ella, and our parents go on holiday, and Ella decides that she wants to spend the time when she was away with her favorite uncle. Her uncle and her, she views her uncle as like her best friend, like her only friend. Like her whole world's around her uncle. Her uncle's the cool uncle. He's an absolute awesome guy, and it's just amazing to her. And basically, and then she decides to go for that week to spend time with her uncle, but then foils a turn when Tommy's boyfriend shows up to spend time when they're spending time together, and basically Ella tries to get rid of Tommy's boyfriend Steve, and it's just a wholesome, light-hearted comedy that has some really funny moments. It has some great. It's very great with its representation, especially with the LGBTQ side of things. There's a lot of there's not many LGBTQ characters because the cast is small, which is great because I think that if there was too many characters, it would be, a bit overblown. But there's a small amount of characters, and I really loved its representation, its view. It's like there's triplets in the movies that are what we're gonna call the Ally Kings. They're the absolute Giga Chads. They're the best. The triplets are the true allies of the LGBT community. There's like a trans character, and there's other things that are just like. But I think what's important, and I think I want to praise the film, is that that's not the defining characteristics of their character. It's like they don't make a big deal that the uncle's gay or anything. He's just the uncle is it's like, and it's what I think is really great about the film is like he's the cool uncle, but he's also gay. And I really loved that side of it because it just felt like what I think representation should be is that these things are normal. These things aren't like huge shockers or that should be the only characteristic of them. And that's what I really loved. And there's other it has a great cast. I think the acting is fantastic. The little girl who plays Ella is fantastic. She's never annoying, especially for a child performance. There's a little other kid called Ota, who is also adorable, who's also fantastic. He reminds me kind of the kid from Jojo Rabbit, who has the glasses. Ironically enough, he's very similar vibes. But yeah, it's just an adorable little movie. I think it has a great soundtrack. The jokes are hysterical. Some of them are absolutely hilarious. And there's fantastic reincorporation throughout. Like things that are set up in the very beginning of the movie are reincorporated at the end. And it's just such a great movie. And I loved it's just so wholesome. And I think that it's a great length. It's an hour and 20 minutes long with credits, and it absolutely flies by. It's such a fun movie. I hope that it gets a big release because it absolutely deserves it. It is such a joyful movie, and it was such a good film to watch, and a great film to start my day with because it just made you feel positive and happy. And I think that's what it was going for. It is. I know I was watching it with my mum, and she cried at it because the ending is it's just so good. You fall in love with these characters, and even in such a short runtime, you fall in love with them, and I think that it's just an excellent movie. I gave this 4 stars. I would highly recommend this movie to everyone. Hopefully, it gets a release by somewhere. If it doesn't, it'll be quite sad because it's excellent. It is a true joy, and I would recommend this film to literally everyone. It's skyrocketed up on my list. It didn't crack my top 10 because this year has been a fantastic year for movies and all. It's been a great year for movies, but it's up there in my list. I think it's currently, where is it on my list? It's currently my 15th favorite movie of the year, and by the way, this year was stacked with fantastic fucking movies. I could see it going up in the list. In all honesty, I could see this going up. It's been a great year for movies. So yeah, 4 stars for Mini Zlatan and Uncle Darling. Currently my favorite movie of the festival. That might change when I see more movies, but that's the current standing with the movies. And with that, I have nothing really else to talk about. So I just end the stream there. I plan to see more movies during the week. I might do another one of these streams. So, for example, for the beginning of the Thursday stream, I might cover more movies I saw, and then Sunday I will cover the rest of the movies. That's what we're gonna kind of do. So this will be the part one. We'll do another like mini stream. I might do it before or after the Silent Hill stream. We'll do another one where I cover more movies. I'll probably do it after the Silent Hill stream because it gives me more movies to watch before the Silent Hill stream. So after the Silent Hill stream, we'll do part 2 where I cover more films that I've seen. And then on Saturday or maybe Sunday, I might delay it to Sunday to give me most time. We'll do a part 3 and we'll finish with the last of the movies that I saw on because I had to have them all done by Sunday. So, and we'll review all the films that I've seen. And then I think afterwards, yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll give out like the best of the festival award. I'll make a cool graphic for the best of the best of fest award. So yeah, that'll be really exciting. Thank you so much for watching. This should be on YouTube for you to watch. So come by and watch it again. You know. So yeah, I will see everyone on Tuesday. Have a good rest of your day.